Hi guys, Catherine here. I hope you've all had a fantastic week. Sorry this video is a little bit later than planned. I kind of lost a bit of inspiration at the start of the week. However, I knew I had my smear test coming up, and I said when I originally got the appointment that I would be doing a bit of a experience, a vlog for you, so that way you guys could get an idea on what it is like if you are nervous, or if you just want to know a little bit more information about it and get it from someone's point of view. I am literally about to walk out of the door, so once I've had it I will come back and I will sit down and tell you guys all about it. Hi guys, I am back from my appointment with the nurse for having my first smear test done. My mum has very kindly decided to join me. She's again not going to be on camera because she's camera shy. However, we're going to compare our first experiences, as my mum has had numerous smear tests where this was my first one. So I want to kind of compare it to when she first had hers done and to now, and how far the medical profession in smear tests has come. So yes, let's begin. Hi guys, Future Catherine here. Just wanted to make sure it was really clear as to what a smear test is, and I realised that as I was filming I didn't actually mention that. So before we begin, obviously if you don't feel comfortable watching this video at any point, you are more than welcome to click off, but I just want to quickly explain what a smear test actually is. So a smear test is a cervical screening to look for abnormal cells that could be linked to cervical cancer. So that is why it is very important for women between the ages of 24 and 64, according to the NHS website, which I am referring to currently, to be checked for cervical cancer by using a smear test. Now, usually people get called back every 3 years for a smear test, and then every 5 years once you turn 50. And if there is any abnormalities, I think it becomes a lot more frequent. However, that is the gist that you get from it via the NHS website. So if you do want some more factual information, please do go to the NHS website, which I am currently on, is www.nhs.uk/cervical-screening/. And a smear test in today's current climate, what with COVID, I think is very different to a smear test you would usually have. I think it adds, I suppose, a bit of more pressure almost, because you've got this thing covering your face. You can't really breathe. I mean, you can breathe, but you just feel quite claustrophobic because there's something covering your nose and mouth, especially if you are nervous already going into it. I'm not really nervous when it comes to doctors, nurses, dentists, hospitals, nothing like that. So I wasn't really nervous about going to have it done. Of course I had questions, because obviously you want to know what's going on whilst you're doing it. And I'm going to talk you through the whole experience, so walking through the door to leaving, what it was like in this COVID-19 situation. So if you are about to go and have your smear test done and you're not sure and you want to kind of have an idea before you go and have it done, then this is the video for you. If you feel uncomfortable as well anytime throughout this video, feel free to click off or skip a bit to the end, like you're more than welcome to. There's no pressure in watching this video, but this video is about giving people an insight into what happens in a smear test in today's day and age. And obviously everyone's experiences are going to be different, but I'm just going to tell you about my experience with my smear test. So first things first, I walked up to my doctors, and we have to go, usually I would go in one entrance, but they changed it because of COVID-19. It's the first time I've actually visited this year. So I had to go around a different way, and before they would come and open the door for me, so you couldn't actually touch any of the handles, which actually I think was quite a good idea in regards to sort of safety in that aspect. And then they took my temperature, so I had to, because I got a fringe, got to part the curtains so they can take my temperature. And then I sat in what usually would be a full waiting room, but actually was literally like 2 chairs and a whole room all to myself. Very weird, very bizarre, but you know, it's what we're currently living in, I guess. I think that was the most alien part of the experience for me, was going through that process rather than the actual smear itself, but that's my own personal opinion. I then got called in by a female nurse, and she was really lovely, really welcoming. She really put me at ease, and she, before I even asked any questions, she was talking me through the whole process and assured me that if I felt uncomfortable with anything or I didn't want something to happen, she would stop right away. So it was very nice of her to be able to inform me that I was in complete control over the whole process. So she obviously explained with a smear test, it's all to do with your cervix. So you have to take off your trousers or your skirt. I would definitely recommend wearing a skirt. It makes it easier because then you don't have to slip off your trousers. I wore some loose fitting jogging bottoms, so it was easy. And also it's a little bit dull outside and I didn't feel like wearing a skirt, especially for something like that on my first occasion. So definitely 100% wear comfortable knickers. Tip. Just because you don't want to wear a nice set of knickers, and because they don't care about that, just wear something comfortable that you'll be comfortable in for the rest of the day, because everyone reacts differently afterwards as well, from what I'm aware of. So went in, took off my trousers, and you sit up on the bed that they usually have in the doctor's surgery. Obviously that has complete fresh new paper towels all over it. And she did that in front of me so I could see it was completely fresh, and she explained exactly what was going to happen. So she explained that she was going to insert a speculum into my vaginal canal. I can't believe I'm saying that on YouTube. My vaginal canal. And she basically opens it up so she can get a good look at my cervix, and then they put in like a, it's weird, it looks like a butterfly swab, if that makes sense. It's not like a cotton swab, it's a different kind of swab. I cannot feel it at all. And they just move it around and out it comes. And she was really, really good. She spoke the whole way through, so it took my mind off of what was going on down there, and she was explaining everything that was happening as it was happening. But it was just nice. And also she gave me like hints and tips for how to, for instance, make it feel easier. So she told me, obviously, deep breaths in through my nose, out through my mouth, lay completely flat, and that makes the process a lot more comfortable in getting it done. Obviously, having something, the only way to put it is like open up your, yeah, like that, open up your vagina is it's the weirdest experience. I suppose it's the weirdest experience, but it's also not as bad as I think people are informed that it is, and then they make it out to be bigger than actually something it is. And I totally get why, because it's unknown, especially if you haven't had it done before, and if you've had a negative experience, it can certainly make you less relaxed down there. And I think it is quite important to be relaxed down there, because they are inserting something in to open it up to get a good look and get the right cells in order to make sure that your cervix is healthy and that you don't have anything cancerous down there. So I 100% think it's so important to get it done. And I will say literally 30 seconds of discomfort. Not even discomfort, I wouldn't even describe it as a discomfort. I just felt that there was something going on down there, and that was about it. I didn't really feel uncomfortable, because she used a small speculum and she used the right lubrication to make sure that it was as smooth as possible. I know that sort of when I came back, the first thing I did obviously was tell my mum about what had happened, because my mum couldn't believe I was gone for 10 minutes and I was back in 10 minutes. So she was just like, oh wow, that was really quick. And that's what I mean, it's a flash. you forget about it afterwards. It's worth what it is that you experience for the end result, especially if it saves your life. And that is something the nurse says as well to me, that, you know, for 30 seconds worth of discomfort, this could potentially save your life. And then right at the end, she explained to me that that there would be 3 possible outcomes, and I would receive a letter in the post between 2 and 4 weeks. So 2 to 4 weeks, I will receive a letter in the post to my home address saying that everything's normal, and I can go back in 3 years' time for a normal regular appointment. There was insufficient, the test sample was inadequate, and that I would need to go back in 3 months to have a redo. However, that very rarely ever happens, but it can happen. And the third one would be abnormal cells, and then I would be contacted by my local hospital, who would invite me in to do further tests. So I will check in with you guys in 3-4 weeks, depending on when it comes, and let you know whether there was any more to it or whether there is more to come. But fingers crossed, everything is fine and dandy south of the border. But yes, so now to kind of get into a bit of the comparison, I guess. So now we've got the basic, this is what happens in today's day and age with a smear test in the COVID pandemic. And now I want to have a chat with my mum about her experience when she first had it done. So obviously, Mum, we had a bit of a sort of a quick chat about it before.
Yeah.
You first had it done when you were 24, 25, which is the normal age. It's always like that. And the nurse explained to me it was until you were 50, and then it goes to every 5 years, not every 3 years, unless it comes up abnormal, then they see you more often than not. But obviously now they use like a plastic speculum that was actually warm. Can you explain to me what you mentioned to me earlier about your experience when you first went to have it done?
Well, when I was young and in my 20s and they started doing smear tests, you ended up having to go to a cottage hospital, which was a small hospital where they did minor operations and things like that.
Okay.
So you're already not stepping into your doctor's surgery that you're accustomed to. You were going to a small cottage hospital. Yeah. And then you were led into a room much bigger than just like a nurse's little room. And it was the doctor that used to take your... And in them days, there were a lot of male doctors. So you had a male doctor that would do the smear test with you. And you had a metal contraption, a metal...
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And it wasn't warmed up for you. It was cold.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a nurse in there. Obviously, there was a nurse in with the doctor. So you had that. That was kind of heightened.
So you had like a chaperone, so you felt safe.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But yes, it wasn't painful. It was just very uncomfortable and added to the atmosphere of what you were walking into. And it wasn't till many years later that the nurses took over doing it. And then if you had still had a metal one, but she would warm it up. You know?
Okay.
So I don't know how she warmed it up. Obviously not under a tap, not like that, because it was sterilised. So it would have been, but it would have been warmed up maybe through the wrapping or something. But the coldness was taken off.
Yeah.
You know, and it was much better because you were talking like a woman to woman.
Yeah.
The atmosphere completely changed. And now, like you say, the last couple of times I've been, it's been plastic.
Yeah.
And it's just been, it feels like it's come such a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you said, it's become like a 30-second in and out appointment done in 10 minutes, where mine was an appointment at a cottage hospital where you had to go in and have half a day off work, go to the cottage hospital.
It became a big thing.
It was a big thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of where the stereotypical worry has come from.
Maybe because if you're that way inclined, it could be quite daunting.
Yeah,
to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a young female.
Yeah,
but now it's been reduced down into a small, neat little package.
Yeah, and I think definitely the advancements has made it a lot easier. And I think, like I said, like if I was, for instance, a big worrier when it comes to like doctors, needles, dentists and things like that, I think I would be slightly worried. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I think wearing a mask and all that, there was a bit of apprehension there, but all in all, I wasn't worried going in. I was quite calm in regards to I kind of knew I was going to have to put my legs, like, you know.
There's only one way, yeah. Electric limbo, there's got to be.
Yeah, there's like, either way, at some point in your life, something's going to go up there to make sure everything's all right. So, you know, it's just one of those things. It's a necessity that needs to happen. So I kind of, you know, at peace with it's got to be done.
The process.
But yeah, I think it's a lot. If someone had whipped out a metal one, I have to admit I'd be a bit like, whoa, hold on a second, because I think you look at like metal things and you think medieval contraption.
Yeah, but the result outweighs the process.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. The plastic, by the way, she opened up a fresh one in front of me, so it's not. You don't have to worry about that. They're going to reuse that on someone else and share. And she put it into the hazardous bin in front of me as well. So I'm confident that what has been used on me will not be used on someone else, and I'm confident that what was used on me wasn't used by someone else. And they're very hot on that, and I think that was a really important step, especially now. Wow. I have to admit, I would be, don't get me wrong, I mean, if it has to happen, it has to happen, but I would, as a woman, I feel a lot more comfortable with a woman going down there, because I think, you know, woman to woman, they go through the same thing. They know exactly how it is. And, you know, bless the nurse, she was telling me about her experiences and how she tells her kids that, you know, guys, this is what needs to happen. Don't worry, it's going to be totally fine. Like, you can tell that this nurse had a great amount of experience, and that she was used to dealing with people that were very apprehensive. And hopefully, fingers crossed, one day in the future, we can get to the point where we can banish and abolish the whole, going for a smear test is really, really nerve-wracking and really worrying, and actually it's as simple as having a flu jab. You know, it's in, out, done. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised by my experience. And to be fair, I've had I'm 24, and quite a few of my friends that are of the same age as me have had theirs recently too, and not one person has told me of a negative experience that they had during the process itself. And obviously all my friends are currently waiting for their results to come through, and fingers crossed all the results come through clear, because if they don't, then that's when you band together as friends to see it through and make sure that they can get through to the end, and no matter what the outcome.
But this process, the smear test is to find it early.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's so important, because I do know people that have had not the outcome that they wanted or would have hoped for. You know, everyone wants clear, everyone wants negative, everything's fine. But sometimes that's just not the case, and sometimes there just needs to be a little bit more in-depth, what's the word? Investigation, more in-depth investigation to see if actually there's not anything to worry about. There was an abnormality, but it's not anything to worry about, or actually there's something more serious. We need to nip it in the bud now. And I think, like we've said on multiple occasions now throughout this video, probably sick to death of hearing it, it outweighs the tiny bit of discomfort that you would feel. But if you want like hints and tips, if it's obviously warm outside, 100% wear a skirt, like a long skirt, something comfortable, flowy, nothing tight. Wear some granny panties, comfortable granny panties, and just, you know, don't worry about, I know it's easier said than done, but don't worry about it. It's literally 30 seconds of your life, and I'm sure we've all had uncomfortable experiences at some point or another for many different reasons, and this is one that will not impact on your life remotely once you've walked out of that surgery after having it done. So honestly, I would say, like, go and get it done. if you are 24 and you have had the letter come through from the NHS saying that you are due for a smear, go and get it done. If you have had a bad experience, I'm so sorry if you had a bad experience in the past with a smear test, but go and speak to your local gun clinic as well, because they can do them as well, and they are like gynecologists. And like I said earlier, she made me feel completely in control from start to finish, and that I could say stop at any time and she would. And it was fantastic, in my opinion, the service that I received from my local nurse doing my smear test today. So yeah, I think it's important to get the word out there that having a smear test is so important and is not half as bad as what it used to be way back in the Stone Ages. Okay. Ooh. No, I'm kidding. Way back when yeah, the 80s. That gives away how old my mum is. So that is it for today's video, guys. If you like this video or have got something similar going on with your own smear or something coming up, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to turn on those notifications so you know exactly when I upload my videos. I will do my very best to get back to all of your comments in the comment section, and as usual we will end our video on a quote of the week. So this week's quote of the week is from moi. I found it on Pinterest and it says, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." So I will leave you with that quote of the week, guys. If you want to shout out in next week's video, make sure you are subscribed and have hit that notification bell, and that you leave a comment in the comment section below, hashtagging quote of the week. I cannot wait to hear what you guys will come up with for next week's video. Big love to you all, and I will catch you next week.
We're going to talk about fannies now. Yeah, the inside of a fanny.
Yeah, we're going to talk about vaginas, inside of a vagina.
Yeah.
You do not have a healthy relationship with your mum.
You shut the door.
That's going in the bloopers.